Hello everyone, my name is Halvey. In this video, we're going to be talking about reinforcements in Fire Emblem games. So reinforcements have a variety of triggers that will cause them to spawn. Most of the time it'll be a certain turn. They could also be spawned by reaching a certain point in a map, and they can also be triggered by defeating a certain amount of enemies. Then there are three different possibilities for when the reinforcements will spawn in. The first one is at the start of enemy phase. These are called same turn reinforcements, also called ambush reinforcements or ambush spawns. Then the next one is when reinforcements appear at the end of enemy phase. Then there are times when reinforcements can appear midway through player phase. But for this video, we're going to be going over the history of the same turn reinforcements, the ones that appear at the start of enemy phase and can act in that same turn. These are the most dangerous reinforcements that you will see. As the name implies, you can easily get ambushed if you're going in blind. They could easily just appear from a fort or stairs right beside your weaker units and just kill them instantly. The best way to deal with these types of reinforcements is to have knowledge of where they're going to be coming from, and then you can block the stairs or forts wherever they're coming from. Some games don't allow this, as they'll just spawn right beside the usual spot anyway. However, in most games that these reinforcements appear in, you can just block wherever they're coming from and they won't appear. But that only works if you know ahead of time where they're going to be coming from. Though a lot of times the games will try to hint a little bit where they might be coming from, but it's still not obvious. So these ambush reinforcements first appeared in FE1, the first game. All reinforcements in FE1 are ambush spawns. Then in FE2, there are no ambush spawns except for enemies on the world map can move onto the space that you are currently on, and they will ambush you in that way, as in you will be forced into battle and the enemies will move on the first turn. They get the first move in the battle. This generally won't really be a problem, but in some cases the enemies could have a lot of movement and they could easily kill a weaker units on the first turn and you really have no control over it. Then in FE3, every reinforcement is an ambush spawn. FE4 also has ambush reinforcements. However, these are the most predictable ambush reinforcements in the series, I would say. As you seize castles in each map, the new armies for the next castle will come out and move in that same turn. So as you play the game, you'll come to learn that and expect more enemies as soon as you seize a castle, and sometimes you can predict what castle they'll be coming out from. However, there are some cases that enemies will come from a completely faraway place on the map that you would have no telling of what's going to happen. Also in FE4, enemy commanders can come out with a new fleet of soldiers from a castle and they'll move in that same turn. FE5 then continues with every reinforcement being an ambush spawn, and FE6 as well. Every reinforcement is an ambush spawn. FE7, as the series was finally making its way over to the west, it almost entirely removed ambush reinforcements. Most of the reinforcements in this game will appear at the end of enemy phase. However, in some early chapters, especially in Lin mode, you will see some examples of ambush reinforcements. Some examples are in chapter 8 in Lin mode. There are ambush reinforcements, as well as chapter 14. Also in chapter 32, Victory or Death, there are zones that if you move into them, it will cause reinforcements to appear instantly. However, this is during player phase, so the player may have time to react if, they didn't trigger them like on their last possible move. Then FE8, I believe, is the only game that doesn't have any ambush reinforcements. I think all the reinforcements appear at the end of enemy phase. FE9 has some cases of ambush reinforcements. For example, in chapter 10, if you enter one of those watchmen's attack range, then they will call for the guards, and the guards will appear instantly as reinforcements. So the player does have some time to react if they still have units that they can move remaining. And then again in chapter 11, the Black Knight appears as an ambush reinforcement. Otherwise, reinforcements in FE9 only appear at the end of enemy phase, even in Maniac mode. Then in FE10, there is one instance of ambush reinforcements in the first turn of 3-3. Otherwise, the rest of the reinforcements appear at the end of enemy phase. Then for FE11 through 13, so Shadow Dragon, New Mystery, and Awakening, on the normal standard difficulties of these three games, reinforcements will appear at the end of enemy phase. However, on higher difficulties than normal, they are ambush reinforcements always. Then in FE14 Fates, in Birthright, there is one case of ambush reinforcements. In Chapter 12, Xander, Laszlo, and Perry appear and they move in that same turn. Also in Birthright, there are triggers for reinforcements that will make reinforcements appear on player phase. For example, in Chapter 17, the villages, if you visit some of them, enemies will come out right away and the player could have time to react to that. Also in Chapter 23, when you move close to Camilla, some reinforcements will appear. Then in Revelation, there are several cases of reinforcements appearing during player phase. For example, as early as Chapter 7, this is kind of like a fog of war map. When moving into the paths that progress you forward into the map, the enemies will instantly appear. However, you only have like 3 units in that map, so you may have time to react, but maybe not. Otherwise though, in Fates, most reinforcements will appear at the end of enemy phase. Then FE15 being a remake of Gaiden, it's mostly the same, that you can be ambushed by enemies on the world map when they move into a space that you're currently occupying. And also in dungeons, if an enemy sneaks up behind you, then you'll be forced into battle and the enemies get the first move. Most of the time though, they can't really do anything, they'll just move closer to you. Then in FE16, 3 houses, reinforcements are always ambush spawns on maddening mode. Then for all modes, there are some times that reinforcements will appear at the start of enemy phase but will not act, they'll just wait. For example, Acheron in the Rose-Colored River chapter, as well as the reinforcements in Chapter 5, Tower of Black Winds, the one against Miklon. Then there are other chapters with triggers for spawning reinforcements. For example, Chapter 17 of Crimson Flower, Field of Revenge. Upon reaching one of the shoals or bridges will cause Mercedes and the Fortress Knights to come in at the start of enemy phase, but I'm not sure if they would move or not. It seems like they'll just wait. And with that, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.